Hello, I'm Catherine Maguire. Welcome to the Soul Alchemist Podcast. If you are on a journey of personal or spiritual growth where you're looking to alchemize those parts of yourself that are stuck, or where you're procrastinating, or that are resisting change, or where you're playing small, so that you can connect to the essence of who you truly are, your inner gold, and be that truly and authentically in the world, you are in exactly the right place. Welcome. Welcome. Thanks for coming along. And today we are on episode 20, which means if you've been hanging out with me since the beginning, you have 5 months of alchemizing under your belt. Well done. Well done. And if you're catching up when you get here, you have 5 months of alchemizing under your belt. Also, well done. Really well done. Thanks for sharing the journey with me. And thank you for your feedback. Thanks to those of you who get in touch and your comments. I really do appreciate them. And can I just say, I was speaking to someone last week who said, I wanted to message you a few weeks ago, but I just thought you'd be too busy. I'm never too busy to hear from you. I'm really never too busy to hear from you. I love hearing from you. And hearing from you helps me, make the podcast, improve the podcast. Because my absolute heart's desire with this podcast is to create something that helps you, create something that serves you on your journey. So let me know what works. Let me know what you love. Let me know what you want more of. And I am more than happy to do that. So please do get in touch. I love hearing, what the podcast inspired. I also love hearing what it churned up. So to bring your attention to that you have to alchemize. So get in touch. Either message me on Instagram, email me at Catherine@catherinemaguire.com. Or if you're one of my mentoring clients, you have my text number, text me and let me know. I'd love to hear from you. All right. So today I want to offer you something lovely. I know the world is a heavy place right now. I know there is a lot going on, and I know that can totally max you out, max your gentle, tender heart out, max out your nervous system. And then that's, as well as whatever's going on in your day-to-day life. So I want to offer you the antidote for all that today. And the antidote is this. What's the best that could happen? What's the absolute best that could happen? And notice in your body what happens when I say that. So maybe you go into resistance. Maybe you go into that kind of dark place. Well, you just got to get real, Catherine, and the world's hard. And, you just got to get on with it. So notice if you go into resistance and you don't want to hear that sentence. And if that's the case, just breathe some space into it. Acknowledge it's there. We're not trying to make it go away, but we are looking to maybe make a little bit of space. So breathe. Let's all take a gorgeous breath today. And I'm going to say it again. What's the best that could happen? And breathe that question in. And notice if you do breathe it in, if you do allow it to come into your being, it opens up some space. Maybe it opens up some space where you can feel your shoulders dropping and opening. Or maybe it opens up some space in your chest or your heart or your belly. Or maybe it opens up some space in your mind, a little door, a little opening to, possibility, potentiality, something new, something different, something else. All right. And I want to tell you a story to kind of help you lock that in. So we're going all the way back to Ireland in 1940. Okay. And I want you to visualize this. My granddad, who is a big, tall man, a farmer that grew up on the east coast of Ireland, not a wealthy man by any extremes. They were quite, I suppose now we would call it probably subsistence farming. But my granddad always wore, trousers and a blazer and a hat, as was normal in those days. And my granddad was taking, in his little truck, he was taking a load of hay from his farm to Dublin. And back then, I'm guessing with the roads and the type of little truck it was, I don't know, maybe that was an hour and a half's drive, 2 hours, I'm not sure. And he took this load of hay to Dublin. I don't know why. The part of the story of who he was bringing it to and why is long lost. But he was taking this load of hay to Dublin. And when you come into Dublin from the north side, you come to a place called Whitehall. And in Whitehall, there's a big junction, a big crossroads. This big church on one side and then a big crossroads. And when my granddad got to Whitehall, he got pulled over by a guard. And the guard apparently was in a foul form. And he summons my granddad. He served him a fine because he said his load of hay wasn't properly secured. And this would have been a big deal for my granddad because the cost of the fine would probably wipe out the cost of him driving to Dublin and selling his hay. And a passerby saw what went on. And when the guard walked off, he called my granddad over and he says to my granddad, you know, he's a sour owl guard. And that was, there was no need for that. He was just being sour with you. He said, take my advice and go on down to Drumcondra Park, which is another part of Dublin, a little bit further down the road. Go on down to Drumcondra Park and find Mr. Murphy. He's a justice of the peace, and plead your case with him. So that's what my granddad did. He took himself off to Drumcondra Park, found Mr. Murphy's house, knocked on the door. And I actually don't know what happened about the summons. Nobody does. That part of the story is also lost because something else happened instead. Mr. Murphy was not on his own in the house. His daughter Margaret was also there. And my granddad fell in love with Margaret. And they did what couples did back then. They courted and then eventually they got married. And it was a big deal because my granddad at the time was over 20 years older than Margaret. He was a Catholic. She was a Protestant. And that was still a thing back then in Ireland, where that kind of caused kind of conflict and difficulty. And also he was a, true countryman, a culchie, and she was a city girl. But they got married and she moved to the country and they had 5 children, one of whom is my dad, the eldest of those 5 children. So that's the story I want to leave you with today, which is, my granddad could have had that moment with the guard and it could have ruined his day and wiped out his profit. But if we bring that beautiful question into it, what's the best that could happen? Something really amazing came out of it, and he still had to show up. He still had to go all the way down to Mr. Murphy's house and knock on the door and plead his case. He had to take action. But what's the best that could happen? A marriage and children and grandchildren came out of that. So that's what I want to leave you with today as you go through your week. Is when you come up to something where the energy feels tight or constricted, or you're feeling overwhelmed, I'm going to invite you to pause and breathe. And in that moment, ask yourself, well, what's the best that could happen here? And see how that opens up some space. Because your logical brain is a wonderful, wonderful thing. But when we are thick in, heavy energy, or in the, the heart of a problem, or when we're feeling overwhelmed, or when our nervous system is maxed or under strain, our logical mind is actually not a lot of help because it logically rolls things forward, usually into the worst case scenario. And that's where you need your creative brain, your intuition, the part of you that thinks abstractly, the part of you that adds color and joy into your world. So in asking that question, you're tapping into the other part of yourself, the part of you that is magical, that can alchemize, and that can reach for a new possibility. What's the best that could happen? So say it with me, and let's anchor it into your body today. Big breath in. What's the best that could happen? What's the best that could happen to me today? What's the best that could happen to me in this moment? What's the best that could happen in this challenging situation? And you don't have to know the answer. You just have to ask the question, because in asking the question, you open up space and you make room for the universe, for the magical force of alchemy to come in and support you and help you and create something else. So that's my offering to you today. What's the best that could happen? Play with it, explore with it, see where it takes you. And please do get in touch and let me know. I would love to hear what that opens up in your life, in your day. Have a gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful day. I look forward to hearing from you. Sending so much love. Slán, agus ciao.